welcome to this marketing show. Cheryl, I was recently asked to go and speak for an OEM this fall, 700 of their dealers, technology dealers, and guess what the topic was? How to launch and basically supercharge your social media. Now, I said to the gentleman, I said, hey, aren't people already on board with this? And the comment was, we got people all over the map. So today, why don't you introduce our topic, Cheryl, what we're going to talk about and why?
So we're basically going to be focusing today on the biggest mistakes that are made that we see on social media. We're going to go through top 10. However, I would say there's probably close to about 20 or 30. But we're going to talk about the 10 biggest mistakes that we see on a daily basis that are being made when it comes to businesses on social media platforms.
And we say this with all due respect, by the way, if you're watching. I would say before we even get into the 10, Cheryl, the biggest problem we see, or challenge maybe more softly, is that companies just don't have a plan. There's no strategy. You've got multiple owners. So Jimmy posts sometimes, Betty posts other times, and the classic, if you're millennial or a Gen Z, please give me some wiggle room here. But a lot of times the keys are handed to social media to a millennial or Gen Z because they're so great on these platforms. I would just argue that I think it's the mix of a younger person potentially with the business experience of maybe someone who's been around a little while that's going to give you the magic formula to win. But so strategy, single owner, and of course, that blend of technology savviness, social, and also the experience would be key to success. So let me start with the first one here. The biggest mistake we see made, is people are dormant, and they're either dormant altogether, meaning they haven't posted in months, and or they're dormant on certain channels. So for example, it could be not, hey, Rick, you're on LinkedIn all the time, but you're not on Snapchat, for example, or Instagram as much. Mm-hmm. And I think companies, it's so important to, as a company, be on all the channels where your customers may be. And of course, as an agency, Cheryl, we've got platforms to do that. But if you're not on all channels with your content, I think you may be missing an opportunity.
And I think to your point, dormant or not posting consistently. So sometimes they might throw up a post in March and then we don't hear from them until June. So it's a matter of understanding the cadence of how often and when to post on what platform. Number two, no inspection or measurement. So a lot of companies just think that throwing the content out there, that's where it ends. That's all they have to do. Let's just talk about our product and service and see how it goes. You need to measure the content that you're putting out there based on the goals of what you're trying to establish, which of course goes back to strategy, which we talked about at the beginning. So what are you trying to do with your social platforms? Are you trying to get people to click through to your site? Are you trying to update them on knowledge about your product and service? And then based on that, you need to measure against those goals. That needs to happen on a regular basis so that you can optimize your strategy. And then engagement. Are your employees engaging with your content? Are you talking about your employees? Are you involving your employees in the content that you're creating, which is going to help with engagement? So measurement is for sure a huge important aspect of a social media platform strategy.
Yep, and there's several ways to measure posts, likes, shares, all those kinds of things, and even benchmark against your competitors, which I think is very important. Here's number 3. Use of copyright material. I see it all the time. I'm not sure if you folks watching right now do, but the clip from a movie or some clip of a video that you think's funny or inspirational, or whatever. And unfortunately, you're really putting your business at risk by using that without permission. So be very careful of copyright material.
And platforms are getting a lot smarter with algorithms that are being able to pick up on content. Even if it's just a song that you have playing in the background of your video, they won't actually allow you to post a lot of times, but you definitely could get yourself in trouble from a business perspective. Number 4, lack of branding. So I think this is where I see the biggest opportunity for businesses to stand out on social, and that is to brand their content. We should automatically know when we scroll through our feed, whatever platform it might be, but I'd say especially Instagram, we should know that that post belongs to this company because it's obvious before I even read the text of the post. So how would you brand? You're looking at things like design, color, fonts, filters on your images. Branding is a huge way to have you stand out from your competition as well.
And our team, I think, has done a fabulous job of that, if I may say. And it could be as basic as making sure your logo is on every post. Anyway, my next one is social posts don't link back to your website. Now, if we go back 2, 3, 5 years, people were posting things and linking to Harvard Business Review, New York Times, whatever it was. And I think what people need to do now is be a little more prudent and make sure the links are going back in many cases to your website, a landing page that corresponds, of course, to whatever the social post is. So be careful you're not driving traffic to somebody else's website. Why not drive them to yours?
And again, this comes back to, our second point, which is you need to measure these things, and you'll be able to see how many people are clicking back to your website from your social content. Next is only talking about product and service. So a lot of businesses feel like that's all they have to share with their community. I'm just going to tell them what I'm selling, and I'm just going to push the product. I'm going to push the service. You need a variety of content. You need to talk about things like what you're doing in the community to support the community in which your organization is in. You need to talk about your employees. You really need to talk about your clients, which we talked about a lot here on this marketing show. You need to talk about a whole bunch of different things. It's not just a mix up of your product and service. People will get irritated, unfollow you, and they won't engage with your content.
So what you're saying, Cheryl, I think for some people watching is don't post the front and back cover of your product brochure.
Right. That would probably be a mistake. Yes.
Yeah, let alone its font size 0.2. Anyway, my next one, okay, not including your employees in your posts. Look, if you want to supercharge a post, get out your smartphone, go around the office with their permission, take a couple pictures of, so-and-so or so-and-so in the office at their position, and just say, hey, thanks so much for what you do, Billy, whatever it is. My point is, we see organizations not have their employees engaged in the social posts. And if you want to drive traffic internally and externally, because your customers probably know these people too, just start to include your people inside the posts, and ideally their pictures, better yet video if you can.
Absolutely. Number 8 is LinkedIn profiles are not branded. And we've talked a lot about the importance of having, a company branded profile on LinkedIn, but also you need to even stretch that further and have conversations with your employees about branding their LinkedIn to match the company profile. It's not a matter of just throwing up your logo on LinkedIn. There's a lot more to it, as you know, and probably could speak better to this, Rick, than I could. But it is important that it's not just here's what I do, here's my logo. You need to talk about the value proposition and the problems that your business is solving for your customers.
So if you're a sales leader right now or business owner, take a look at your employees, your customer-facing employees' LinkedIn profile. And I can tell you right now, we work with big companies, and a lot of them tell their people what to do, but they don't actually provide them with the template to use. And that's something that's been very well received in our 30-day LinkedIn bootcamp. Okay, my next mistake is the lack of video in the social content mix, meaning it's all still graphics, and you must be living on another planet if you don't know videos now have got a big appetite. And so it doesn't need to be a big spend by our professional video production team. It could be something you shot on your own camera and put up there. My point is, make sure video is a good part of your mix, because you get a lot more attention. And we just see so many people staying away from it for whatever reason.
100% agree. And number 10, the last one, is not soliciting engagement. And when I say this, I mean, are you doing things like surveying your followers on platforms? Are you asking a question that potentially would cause engagement because people would want to answer that question? Are you using video, using IGTV on Instagram? Are you taking advantage of the various aspects of each platform that could provide better content that people will recognize, and it will also stand out from the other content that's being created out there? So like surveys, polls, you mentioned video, carousels of photos. How can you think a little bit outside of the box rather than just here's picture, here's text?
And Cheryl, so as we sum up here, the 10 big mistakes we see, again, with all due respect, are dormant on social media in general or certain channels, no inspection or measurement, use of copyright material, lack of branding, at least your logo on it, minimum, posts don't link back to the website, promotional content, hey, look at my brochure. Number 7, not including your employees. Number 8, profiles not branded on LinkedIn, so your people look like they all work for different companies because she's got a mountain behind her, he's got a bicycle. Lack of video. And number 10, not soliciting kind of engagement. Now, in closing, Cheryl, if you're a viewer right now, you might be thinking, okay, great, what do I do? And this would be our suggestion. Cheryl and I talked about this before recording. If you're a business leader and you want to do the right thing on social media, again, I respectfully suggest you may want to bring in a third party. If you've ever done a project, you know how important it is at the beginning of the project to have a good plan, okay? And sometimes if you're not in the world of social media, you could be embarking on the wrong plan or the wrong path.
Mhm.
That's why I say, injecting somebody, whether it's us or somebody else that understands the platforms and what's working for businesses like yours, I think could make a dramatic difference, whether you do it on your own or you say, you know what, that's not for us. But the beginning is so important to avoid these mistakes and ultimately be successful on social media so you can sell more, make more, etc.
Yeah, and I would suggest a social media audit. Somebody that's maybe not in the organization would probably be the best person to do that. Take a look at all of these things and just look at where you stand now and then make some changes, create a strategy and go from there.
Yep, because your customers are looking at you on social media, and all we're trying to do today is help you avoid mistakes. So you're out there looking like you're ready to sell to win or market to win, Cheryl, whatever it is.
Exactly. Great show today, Rick. Thank you for those.
I try.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week on This Marketing Show.